Good morning and welcome to episode 24 of the Nekozuki Knits podcast. Today is Monday, February 22nd, 2016. So, happy Thinking Day to all Girl Scouts, Girl Guides, and Boy Scouts in the movement. I know when I was in Girl Guides, it's something that we used to celebrate as Thinking Day. And today I was thinking about you guys, so I figured I would record like I said I was going to every week. But at least it's every 2 weeks, right? So, and I have gotten lots of knitting work done, which is fantastic. So, I would like to say hi to all new and returning viewers. So thanks for joining me again. And yeah, I don't have okay, I'm going to say this up front because it's going to be a little bit of the shop news as well. I don't have bags to preview. The update will still happen on the 24th, I think. It might be the 25th now. I just have been so demotivated regarding sewing that I didn't work on it this week. Well, I did, but the bags are 2/3 done. Like, I got zippers in, but they still need to be top stitched and then actually stitched and then boxed. So actually, I'm only a quarter done if you consider each of those the same amount of steps. Like, investment, I guess, time investment. So anyway, but what I did get done this week, I've been working on a lot of design work. So it's all stuff I can't show you, but I can let you know, like, I did get a proposal submitted. I'm working on another one for another proposal and contemplating a final one for another proposal, actually. So I have been busy progressing, just not in any way that you can see in my Etsy shop. Which, in the end of it all, it's going to happen. I have lots of bags and everything there right now. So the pressure that I felt last summer paid off in the fact that I don't have to be as pressured right now to get as many bags produced. Although I think that I also burnt myself out last summer, and that's why I'm so demotivated about it right now. I'm still working on it. This will be the last update before Japan, and then I'll have a whole bunch of Japanese fabrics hopefully coming back from Japan, so that will motivate me to get more bags done. And as show approvals roll in, I will definitely be working more. I can confirm right now that I will be going to Knit City in Vancouver October 1st and 2nd. So I hopefully will see a few of you there, or quite a few of you there. Would love that. I've actually been considering some other things that we can do while there, maybe a podcaster meetup or something like that, because I do know there's quite a few podcasters from Alberta that travel there, and I know that I met quite a few podcasters from BC while I was there too, so I'd love to be able to do like a meet and greet, maybe even just across the road at the Atrium Inn or something like that. So I will sort that out here hopefully soonish, although we've got lots of months beforehand, so I will figure out the details and let everybody know. At least when you might be able to see me even, or we can have a chat. So, this week was a total week of Startitis. Like I said, I was really demotivated about the sewing. So, like, yesterday I finished installing zippers. And then I looked at my craft room and went, this is a mess, but I don't want to clean it up, so I'm going to cake a whole bunch of yarn. Because, you know, that's how I should deal with mess in my craft room. You can see that my sock yarn bin is starting to get a little bit thin. Although there's still enough there that obviously I'm not going to run out anytime soon. So I did cake up. Well, the first thing I caked up is I caked up this skein of Madeline Tosh. And now that I say that, I don't even remember the colorway, but it's their Tosh sock. I'll have all the details when I actually start to use this, but I was originally going, well, I'm still going to use it for this shawl, the Waiting for Rain shawl by Soft Sweater. But the yarn that I caked up to go with it was a sock blank. And it had looked like a really gorgeous dark blue before I caked it up. And then I caked it up and it had a whole bunch of pink splotches in it. So now when you knit it up, it looks purple. It's definitely not what I want to go with this. So what I was thinking, that's why, is I might order some kitten nose pink and pair those two together. I can't decide if I want a pink or if I want a gray. And honestly, actually, the pink would probably be the dominant color, and the green would become the lace bits in the shawl itself, because I don't think I don't know the proportions of the yarn, because one color would be lace and one color would be like the main body. I really still want this as the main body, so I'm actually going to go look for more yarn tomorrow. But I was so disappointed with that because I wanted to start it this weekend. So that also led to all this caking and casting on, because I wanted to work on that, but I was thwarted. So I caked up some yarn from socks that I've actually already knit. This is going to be a pair of Rose City rollers. I caked up some self-striping from Quebec. This is their Snow White inspired yarn. I'm not going to try and pronounce their French name, but it's their Bissock, which is 85% merino, 15% nylon, and obviously 3 stripes. I love their yarn. It's so soft and squishy, and it knits up really nice. I've knit 2 pairs from their sock yarn already. And then I caked up one of my Flormanias. I had already cast this on, and then I tore out the toe, and it was just a mess, so I decided to cake it. I can't decide. I think I want to do Hermione's Everyday Socks from this, because it's not quite stripy, although it looks like it might be more so than the last pair I knit. But it's also, if it isn't, it's really long color blocks, which I think most Flormania is. So I think I'll do Hermione's Everyday Socks, or a little bit of a pattern on these. Not too much, because the yarn needs to speak for itself because it's so bright. And also, I just realized how much thicker these 2 yarns are, which is really interesting too. Granted, now this was skeined from a cake, or from a ball, like a commercial ball, like this. This is obviously not Flormania, it's West Yorkshire Spinners, but same idea. So it's a little bit bigger, like it's squishier, it's not as compact. But actually, if you take a look at even how thick the yarns are, that's really interesting to me. There we go. So the red is Biscot yarns, they're Bissock. And then the top one is the Flormania. And if it stops focusing on my face, you can actually see that better. There you go. So makes me almost tempted to cake them up again and see what the difference is. So yeah, I caked up all those because I wanted to tidy up my craft bins. Then I also did, I caked up some more Biscot yarns in the Bissock. This was really cool because this is on, like, I can't really call it their off-cast bin, but it was, I think it's like last bits of like cones or something like that. They don't quite fit into the 100-gram skein that you would normally get. So like this is, I got 2 skeins, like 77 grams and 65 or something like that, which is perfect because Dallas's socks need just over 50 grams usually. 100-gram sock skeins that are like 400 yards make me really nervous. So this is perfect. So I can make them as tall as he wants pretty much from it. I caked it up so that I have 2 lines coming out, or like the 2 skeins, so they match the whole way through. And I did actually cast those on. So they are itty bitty, tiny toes. Like, I literally cast them on and then set them aside yesterday. Oh, and there is a project that I finished that is another reason why I'm kind of like, ugh, right now. But I will get to that in finished objects because I did finish it this week. Anyway, so I did that. Then I caked up some Mad Tosh. This is their Tosh DK antique lace. And I have had this in my stash since last year. And I'm swatching for the pixelated pullover by Jennifer Beaumont. I know her last name is Beaumont. I think her first name's Jennifer or Jen or something along those lines. Let me pull it up. Sorry, I knew I was supposed to write that down and I didn't. Yeah, Jennifer Beaumont. So it's this really cool pullover. You can see why it's called pixelated. And so this antique lace is going to be the bust color. Then I have the purple Flamboyance, and I have Pop Rocks. So Pop Rocks is going to be around my face, and then Flamboyance is going to be around my belly, and then the Antique Lace is going to be the bust color. So I'm excited about that. I've been excited about that for a year, but I haven't cast on. And I think that's part of it is like, I've been doing so much design work that at this point I just want someone to sit down and tell me what I should be doing. So I did get lots of patterns as well. So what else did I do? Okay. So I've already talked about 4 of my works in progress. Number 5 is the Vivid Blanket. I worked a couple rounds on the red square. I think I talked about that last week. And I didn't do much on it. Oh, I'm swatching for the pixelated pullover in US 6 4.0 millimeter. I'm knitting the Bissock on US 1 2.25 millimeter. And then my final work in progress. Yes, finally. I have half. No, I've got 2. I'll show you the big one afterwards. I'm working on a pair of handspun mitts. And they do look different lengths than they are a bit because that's how my handspun goes. But they're comfy. They fit. So, whatever. Really at this point. So I just need thumbs on these. And these are going to be entered into Fiber Nymph Dyeworks Handspun Cal. And it was a good motivator to get some handspun out of my stash, although I do have a lot left, so I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of it. Maybe I'll knit another pair of mittens. But I love this color in here. This is something that I spun up last year. I purchased it from Naughty by Nature in Victoria, and yeah, it was a merino silk blend, and it was actually dyed by the gentleman there, which I thought was really cool. So that's part of the reason why I bought it. And it reminds me of Elsa's coronation dress. I am so drawn to these colors. I don't understand. Like, I even have another skein from a completely different dyer that looks almost the same. That almost looks exactly the same. It was not quite close enough for me to put them together. This one, there's more teal here, yeah. So this one's a little bit more purpley. This one's got more pink in it. But like, I don't get it. So when I was buying fiber from Olds last year, I actually made a conscious effort to purchase fiber I would not normally go towards. So I've got a couple things with a lot of white, and then even actually at the Calgary Fiber Fair, I got something with like teal and gray, the Wacky Windmill. Not that I'm going to complain that I have a similar color scheme, but it is good to like expand my my horizons a bit, I think. So that's part of the reason why I have a few different things in my fiber stash right now, which is nice. So I don't get bored of spinning the same thing over and over. So that was one of the last works in progress, and then this is the final work in progress, which is the Highland Peak Shawl by Mina Phillip, who is the knitting expat. She hosts a weekly podcast as well out of Bahrain in the Middle East. And yeah. So I'm over halfway through the body, at least the number of stripes that I need to do. I started this yesterday, so I did all of this yesterday. Tells you how just like not wanting to sew I was. And I'm knitting it out of 3 colors of patterns. Classic merino wool worsted, and I'm sorry, Dahlia got one of my balls, so right now it's tangled all around my tripod. Let me grab it. Okay, so Orchid is the secondary color, Mercury is the main color, and then I'm thinking that the lace will be knitted in royal blue. That actually shows up really nice on camera. So that's what I'm working on. And so all of that is from Stash. The only thing I'm working on right now that isn't from Stash is the Vivid Blanket. And it's not like I keep baby blankets worth of superwash in my stash every day. Although I do actually have a stash of superwash, but it's girl colors. So I I can't really use that for a boy. Although at this point, I think for that blanket, I am going to, it's going to be a longer term project, and I'm going to aim to have it done for her first birthday. It's going to be so large anyway that he would be engulfed by it right now. So newborns are small, which is kind of heartening considering that we're still considering children. However, yeah, I'm glad that they can be small. However, a baby blanket of the size that I'm considering with the Vivid blanket is much too large for him right now anyway. So, yeah, within the next year. That actually brings me to finished objects. And I'm going to try and scoot my cat away from my yarn. If you hear her, or if you hear like crinkling or something like that, there's a piece of paper down here that I white balance my camera with, and she's on it right now. Okay, so I did actually get a couple things finished. I finished the Canadiana socks from Fish and Knits yarn. And they're gorgeous. I love them. I was so much white to knit, but they're so pretty. And they match perfectly. Like, yeah. I think within about 6 stitches. The other really cool thing is I did judge this really well, and I have less than 2 yards left after bind off. So like, that's fantastic. This was out of her Strong Heart base, 64 stitch cast on. I did actually do the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which does give a really nice line here. Although I did do my foot a little bit short, so I'm hoping that these block a little bit and stretch just that touch that I need, because it's not much, maybe 1/4 of an inch tops. But yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out otherwise. I'm not particularly pleased with the second ones that I finished this week. And really I'll tell you why I finished them. So, there's nothing wrong with the sock. But as you can tell, this is the first time I've knit a short sock. It was toe up. It's out of opal. And I forgot to grab the tag to tell you what color it is. And there's nothing wrong with the wool or the yarn. The yarn is fantastic, actually. I loved working with it. It's a little bit, it feels like sheep. Like it's not soft, but that's fine for socks. My feet are not that sensitive. But I don't like the tan. And there's so much of it in this. Like, I love this here, the blue and purple. I love even like this with this little bit. I don't like this tan color. And that's just me. I'm sure there's lots of people who do. But, so the only reason I started them, I started actually, well, I did these 2 at a time. So they don't match and that was not something I was going to try because I just knew I would not get it. It would drive me insane. So I started on this one with this color, and that was fine. I love that color. And then I did this in here, and that's fine. And even this in here is fine, but this tan, I don't get it. Anyway, I guess it was one of the picture inspiration ones, and it looks like there's a bunch of beach on it. And I should have looked closer at the picture on the actual ball band. But here's the thing. I picked this up on my honeymoon. I wanted to try opal. I got it from the Campbell River Needle Arts Center. And so like all of that is fine. I just, knitting it up, I didn't like the color. So they're short socks. Nobody's really going to see the foot. I'm hardly going to see the foot. So I figured whatever. They're mostly going to be just shoe socks at this point. I did do a slip stitch heel. I really like how it turned out, like the striping in here. Like Wendy D. Johnson's toe up gusset and slip stitch heel. There's a couple drop stitches that I'll have to fix on this one, but honestly I care so little that I'll just do it. Yeah, but at least I have another faux, and it does get some deep stash out of my stash, and that makes 3 projects that I can enter into the Two Tangled Skeins brown bag sock club, because I used over 50 grams for this. You have to use over 50 grams to qualify. So that's 3 projects in the first 3 months of January that I can use. So yeah, honestly, it's nothing wrong with the yarn. However, I do have 44 grams left. If any of you would like it, let me know and I will send it out. Because now I have my required amount that I would like for my socks, and I have enough for sentimental value that, yay, I did buy it on my honeymoon, and really that's the only reason I finished them, was because I bought the yarn on my honeymoon. Okay. Now, I did do a lot of reading this week, and I just noticed that I didn't bring any of it with me, so I will just list the titles, and then if you're more interested, let me know on the Ravelry board or message me on Goodreads where you can see everything I read, because I don't generally read a lot of smut, and at least if I was, I'm not going to be admitting to that on Goodreads. The closest I would come to that would be, well, I don't, actually. I read graphic novels and those aren't smut. Well, they could be, but the ones I read aren't. So right now I'm reading The Shadow Speaker by Nnedi Okorafor. I had recently read her Akata Witch last year and really enjoyed it, so I picked this up when I saw it at the Cochrane Library, and I'm really enjoying it too. It doesn't feel quite as polished as Akata Witch, so I would suggest if you've read her later works, this is an earlier work, to take her earlier work with a grain of salt, but it, like, nothing glaringly wrong, just having read Akata Witch, Akata Witch is much more polished and finished, it feels like. Not, that's the wrong way to phrase it, but it's more polished, her later work. At least it seems like her ideas are, like, more set, whereas The Shadow Speaker seems like it's throwing a bunch of stuff in. And then what I read Mort by Terry Pratchett, which is book 4 of Discworld, and First Book of Death. Then I read Kampong Boy, which is a graphic novel by Mohammed Noor Khalid. And then the last two, the most recent ones that I've read or finished are The Tropic of Serpents and The Voyage of the Basilisk, both the memoirs of Lady Trent by Marie Brennan, and I'm really enjoying that series, and the next book is coming out in April and I can't wait. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the podcasts I've been listening to this week, some new and old, and then a little bit of miscellaneous, and you've already heard about the shop, so we're all good. And so what I've been listening to Penguin Soup Knits, who's Ginny out of Ontario, and she's really cute. I love listening to her podcast. It's very she's very much a geek, and she's actually the one that I ordered the Loki yarn from for Christmas for my niece. And yeah, she had to take a long hiatus, but she's back now. At least it seems like she'll be back more regularly now, which I understand. It can be difficult keeping up with podcasts. Yeah, but I really enjoy it. It's short episodes. Really into the geek stuff. I love watching, like, I love seeing dyers podcasts, because I tried dyeing with, like, and I understand. I tried this with food dyes and Kool-Aid and stuff like that. And I get why people love it, but it's not something I would ever do continually myself. So I love watching other dyers, which I also watch Fiber Nymph Dye Works, which I love Lisa as well. I already mentioned that I'm watching the Knitting Expat. That's why I'm doing that shawl. It's for the Knitting Expat Shawl Cal, which is KE Shawl Cal. And you can find it on Ravelry in her Ravelry group, as well as on Instagram. And so I was scrolling through shawl options last night, and they were all gorgeous. Part of the reason why I also wanted to knit that soft sweater, like Waiting for Rain, was so I could enter it in her cal, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It has to be finished by March 15th, and considering that we're going to Japan on March 12th, I don't know if I'll have it finished before then. And then some of the new ones I've been watching. I began watching Once Upon a Corgi, which is a super cute podcast. I believe she said she's out of Connecticut, which is something I should have checked before I started blabbing on about it. But she's super cute. She's got 2 corgis, which consistently play behind her. And yeah, she's just, I love her. Her podcast, she's got a really, like, good lighting, and sorry, I am increasing for Dallas's socks right now, and I shouldn't be doing on camera. But anyway, she's super cute, and I love her podcast, actually. She just released her 7th episode, so she's not too far in, so if you want to catch up, definitely worth checking out. She's on YouTube. Then the other one I've been watching is Arctic Knitting, which is from like Norway, way north up in Norway, and she's really cute. She just had a little baby August or September last year, and he just had his christening. So she's talking about all the things she's done for his christening, like the bonnet she made him to match the christening gown that I think it's her boyfriend's great grandma that made it. Although go watch her podcast because she tells you all about it. But it's really cool to see the traditions that they are like still using even in 2016. And then I've been watching Craft to Kill, which I've only watched a couple episodes about, so I can't talk too much about it, but the one that I did watch is really cute. And then one out of Alberta is Pin, Feathers, and Pearls with Candace. And yeah, I've met Candace briefly at Calgary Fiber Arts Fair, and she's really cute. She said that the meeting was really awkward, but honestly it wasn't, Candace. It's at least you'll have to get used to it if you do come to events, because people will start recognizing you. And honestly, one of the strangest things still, and sometimes awkward, usually not, because usually everyone I've met has been very pleasant, but you're standing around at an event or something and someone comes up and is like, "Oh, I watch your podcast," and start talking to you like they know you, and they do, but you don't know this person. Because as much as I like talking to you all, you're all online for me, so you're seeing me every week to 2 weeks, and I blather on about a lot of things that are happening or a lot of personal things, but I don't hear a lot back. So the connection's very one way, and so Candace, be prepared for that. But honestly, meeting viewers is not awkward. I had been following her on Instagram for, well, actually since the first Calgary Fiber Arts Fair. That's how she was one of the first people to like. No, there's another girl that was the first to follow me, but yeah, we've been following each other for quite a while, actually. So I'm really glad to see your podcast. Your bird is super cute. She's got a, I don't want to say, but his name is Yoshi, and so he hangs out around them while she's recording, around her while she's recording. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm really happy to see Alberta podcasters too, which is nice, because that's one thing I would love to have more of, is more of a community. I'm kind of in limbo right now of where my community is, and I'm trying to find it, but it can be difficult. So yay Alberta podcasters, and yay all the new podcasters that I just talked about. Miscellaneous. I did actually find a medical doctor, which granted I've only been seriously looking for about 2 months. Since the beginning of the year, but I found one in Cochrane, and she's a female doctor. It is a female doctor, which is amazing, because that was one of my criteria, is I want a female doctor, because there's lots of things that I will have to do, should be doing, that I would prefer a female over a male doctor. So if you're in the Cochrane area and you need a doctor, or a female doctor particularly, check it out. Or message me and I will let you know. It's the easiest way. I am preparing for Japan, which means that I'm going through and purchasing like shampoo and conditioner in smaller bottles to carry. The first couple hotels that we're in, I'm not too worried about that, but the last one, I don't know what they actually like provide. So, and we're going to be gone so long, I don't want to upset my skin so much with different soaps and everything like that. Although I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just take smaller bottles, and then like the actual like small bottles, not a bottle of shampoo and conditioner, and then use the stuff from the hotels as we get it too. Because the first two, like one definitely has stuff, and then the next one's a Comfort Inn, so they should. It's just the one in the middle, like on Osaka, that I'm not quite sure because it's fairly inexpensive. And yeah, it looks like they have like one of the wall pumps for stuff, but I definitely don't want to use wall pump soap and shampoo while I'm there. So that actually comes to my question for you guys. Yeah, so my question for you guys is what would you like to see from me when I'm in Japan? I can't say that I can devote. No, actually, I cannot devote a lot of time to the podcast while I'm there. Mostly because I will not have my editing software. I will have access to my camera and like I can film, but like quality of production is going to be very low. And I can't really, like, I don't want to record a podcast or a full podcast at least while I'm there with all the knitting and everything because I don't know what we're carrying actually for like equipment. I think we're going to try and just carry our iPads. Excuse me. And that's not going to work for editing at all. We might carry Dallas's laptop, but that's also a Windows laptop, and I'm used to working on a Mac now. And his is really slow, so I don't think we're going to carry it if we can just carry our iPads. Anyway, what I was thinking is I will try and take, like, there will be so many pictures, it's not even going to be funny, A. Although that is funny. And then what I was rolling over in my head last night was I would probably try to do like kind of a vlog. So like basically I would record and talk while we're at certain sites and then post that. So there wouldn't be a lot of knitting content while we're gone, but I would love to still show you guys what I'm doing while in Japan. So if there's something in particular you would like to hear about, I would love to hear it. And yeah, so like at least I can do, yeah, the vlogs are going to be the easiest to do because I won't have to edit them. I was thinking like I can do picture slideshows or something, but that's not going to work. I would have to just do vlogs. So yeah, let me know what you would like to see though. We're going to be in Tokyo for the first week and then Hiroshima and Miyajima. Miyajima is where the giant torii, like the red gate, is in the water. And then we're going to be in Osaka and Kyoto and then back in Tokyo. Osaka and Kyoto. Kyoto is more of the historical area, so we're going to be doing lots of temples and shrines and actually we've got geisha dance tickets while we're there. Osaka is another port city and there's lots of shopping there, so that's mostly what we're going to be doing there. And the aquarium. Actually, it's really funny because the last time I was in Osaka, sorry, I'm umming a lot. Anyway, last time I was in Osaka, it was over Dallas's and my first anniversary, actually. We started dating in 2009, and I was there in 2009, 2010. So literally, I started dating him in March, and then I left for Japan in September. We weren't even 6 months into our relationship, so it's kind of funny that way. And then our anniversary is March 29th. So this year will be 7 years. However, when I was in Japan, I was at, it's called the Umeda Sky Building, and it's in Osaka. It's a really big like attraction for couples, and you can go up to the top and see the sunset, which is really romantic. And like they do the little locks that you can lock onto a fence along there, and inside there's this big heart that you're supposed to get a picture with your significant other in. So I went into the heart and wrapped my arm around this like invisible Dallas and tagged that spot with him. So that's what we're doing for our anniversary this year. So we're going to Japan and we're going back to the Umeda Sky Building to go up and see the sunset and all the like romantic things, and then to get the picture in this heart because honestly I can't take him to Japan and not do this. So yeah, Osaka's, that's going to be the aquarium and that and shopping. I studied in Hirakashi, which is a city in Osaka-fu, which is the province. I'm actually talking about Osaka City in Osaka province. So think of it as if Alberta had a city called Alberta, and that's basically the idea of Osaka. Like what you think of when you think of Osaka, not just the like province. Let's see, what else have I been doing? Not much. Honestly, it's just been one of those weeks. Trying to think. I'm waiting for the application for Olds Fiber Week to come out. It's supposed to come out just before we leave for Japan, so I'm hoping to apply and get accepted for that. Keep your fingers crossed for me. I would love to see you all there. Definitely a different crowd than I will see or will have seen at Calgary Fiber Arts Fair and in Knit City, which will be nice. And I'd also like to thank all my customers. If you've purchased from me on Etsy or at shows, you're the reason why I'm able to stay home and actually work on designs and be demotivated about sewing. But also, my numbers are going up in such a way that I'm very pleased, and it tells me that my efforts are paying off. Being able to put the extra time and effort into my sewing when I want to, when I can, has let me expand my business and stay at home and take care of my cats and be here when Dallas is home instead of working a traditional 9-to-5 job where I was only seeing him on evenings and on the weekends. And that means a lot to both of us, that I'm able to do something that I love. And I do, no matter how demotivated I am, get some weeks. And also that, like, that I'm able to stay home and do something that I love, that really, like, I am able to work my schedule around his schedule, because his is a very non-traditional week in, week out schedule. And yeah, and I know my cats appreciate it too. So thanks for letting me stay home and entertain my cats and keep them fed. And yeah, this year is already working out to be even better than last year, and I do really appreciate that. So without getting too mushy, I think that's all. I know that something popped into my head that I was going to talk about today, and I can't remember what it was. I'm going to write out all the cows that I'm hoping to enter items into in the show notes. Show notes can be found on Ravelry, and they can also be found on nekazukiknits.com. I started posting the video and the show notes there so that you have an alternative method of like reaching them and reading the notes and everything like that. So anyway, I will record next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, and I will let everyone know via the Ravelry group, and so Ravelry, Facebook, Instagram, and all my social media outlets, when the shop update does go live. I'm expecting it to be the 24th, but it may be the 25th at this point, once I get all my work done. So, and also, the toes have grown. They're not so teeny weeny. Anyway, have a good week, guys, and I will chat with you soon. Bye!